Hello, my name is Dan Gallagher, and I'm here with Dr. Atul today, and we're talking about managing work permits. I suppose the reason for this topic is that the Health and Safety Authority in Ireland, where I'm based in particular, has hardened its inspection program this year, and they're particularly looking at contractor management and the permitting of high risk control jobs. But this is happening across many other jurisdictions as well. It's happening with the HSE in the United Kingdom, OSHA in the United States, EU-OSHA across Europe, Safe Work in Australia, for example, as well. And the main reason is that permit failures and contractor coordination, they keep showing up at the root cause of fatal incidents wherever regulators publish data. So I think what we're seeing in Ireland right now is the leading edge of a global pattern in terms of regulators are converging on the same thing. Permit to work, contractor control are where the consequences land. So I'm with Dr. Atul. Dr. Atul will do a quick introduction for himself. He's got many, many years as an auditor, a trainer in the area of permit to work management. And he's going to talk to us today now about what he's seen as well, and some tips maybe for those of you who are putting together permit to work programs as well. So, Dr. Toole, maybe if it's okay with you, I'd like to start with maybe just a brief introduction about yourself, who you are, why should we listen to you for the next few minutes in terms of permit to work management. So,
Sure. Thank you, Dan, and hi to all the listeners. I am Atul Srivastava. I have been in the oil and gas and chemical process industries for 41 years, and the main chunk of it was in QatarEnergy, LNG, where I spent 20 years. There, I spent 15 years developing, maturing the manual permit work system, and then introducing and again maturing the electronic permit work system. I was part of a PTW implementation and improvement committee. We went across the globe. We visited best of the permit to work implementing companies right from Australia to Europe to USA. And we were very much in confidence when we implemented successfully the both manual and subsequently the electronic permit work system. As Dan has rightly said, the regulators across the world are becoming very particular about the permit work system. There are many loopholes in the manual permit work system, right from its eligibility, people doing some mischiefs when some accidents happen, they just kind of misplace intentionally the permit so that nobody can investigate. People make some adjustments later on after the accidents by manually correcting certain things. All those things are not doable in the electronic permit work system. So we can say electronic permit system is a password protected, highly secure method of documenting our hazards and demonstrating that we have controlled them. Electronic permit work system, particularly the good ones, they provide a very good linkage of every control you do with the risk assessment matrix, and the permit issuers become very comfortable that what started from a high risk situation of doing their job has finally come down to a low risk, and then they can issue the permit.
okay. So,
Electronic permit work systems has demonstrated their effectiveness by reducing the major accidents hazard either in the live plant or in the shutdown plant. So I will rectify 100% electronic permit work system. Yes, Dan.
so thanks, Dr. Toole. I suppose I just have a couple of questions about whether they're on paper or electronic today. Unless you have a solid process anyway, it's kind of it's fruitless unless you get the baseline right. And you can have a good paper system with a good electronic, but let's look at some of the basics. And I suppose obviously it's not going right in some organizations because that's why the regulators, as I said, the HSA in Ireland, the HSE in the UK, OSHA in the States, they're converging on permit to work and contractor control as a priority inspection area. And that's as a result of fatality stats that we're seeing. Why do you think, though, Is there any other reason why, I suppose, that this is such an important topic now as well? Do you think the situation is getting worse as well?
See, the industrialization is expanding very rapidly, putting a lot of economic pressure, a lot of pressure on the manufacturing industry. For example, from 5 trillion economy to 10 trillion economy in the developing countries, from trillion dollar economy to 50 trillion in the developed countries. This is putting a lot of pressure on the manufacturing industry, whatever it may be. And the history of the large scale fatal accidents like in Bhopal, Texas City, Burnsfield, Deepwater Horizon, they all indicate that something is wrong. And all the regulators, the statutory bodies like OSHA, HSE Executive, Irish Health Administration or Authority, they are set up by the act of their respective parliament, and they have accountability to save lives, not only the lives of the client, the operating company, but the poor contractors who keep on changing companies from one year to another. And if our permit work system, which actually is supposed to give a safe workplace to our contractors, is not assured, then there will be always uncertainty. So the responsibility of the regulators and statutory bodies across the globe has, along with the tremendous pressure on the manufacturing sector, has put a lot of pressure on all of us in the industry, to make sure that the major instrument platform of making our work controlled through the permit to work system is foolproof. There should not be major gaps, there should not be loopholes, and that is how all the regulators, like Dan, you have mentioned, HS in UK, OSHA, CSP in US, European Union, OSHA, and Ireland, of course, Health and Safety and Authority, they are putting a lot of expectations on the
Sure.
industry partners to deploy and
To get it
implement
right
the
and to get it right.
electronic permit work.
Sure.
Exactly, exactly.
So I suppose in your travels, when you go around, lots of people don't realize sometimes that their permit direct system mightn't be the best. Now, we're talking today, we probably refer to client and contractor. I know organizations might have no contractors, it wouldn't be so usual, but for the purposes of our conversation, let's go with the client working with third party contractors. Of course, they might just be dealing with their own engineers and fitters and so forth as well. But a lot of companies will tell you they have a good permit system. What actually separates, though, in your opinion, Dr. Hull, a real one from one that's just it's a paperwork exercise?
Yeah, I have done a lot of audits, Dan, on permit to work system in many companies. After I retired from regular employment, I am doing a lot of freelance auditing. Some 90 companies I have visited in the Asian subcontinent. And I found that still some people treat a permit as a movie ticket. So the people who are issuing the permit, they think that they are doing a great favor to the permit receivers. And permit receivers see permit as an impediment. Their work progress is holding until the permit is issued. And once they receive, they think, they have got the movie ticket. They do not realize in many cases, of course, things are changing depending how they are being sensitized in their permit to work training, how seriously the permit to work training is taken in these companies. They do not realize in many cases that it is a joint responsibility. The permit issuing authority or permit issuing party or operating party, whatever you call it, they have a There's no universal standard that everywhere the weak point is in the beginning or in the working
Gotcha.
step or in the close. It all depends how weak we are at for that particular step. I have seen in the same company there could be weak point in one plant and there could be weak point in another step in another plant. It all depends upon the management of that particular plant,
And I
particularly the
think
large ones.
I think it's important to probably realize people don't learn work permit by osmosis. It has to be a structured program. You have to train people on the different steps, both the issuers, the receivers, and the closeout. So sometimes people just end up in the role, and I think it's what they are. They're in a very significantly risky position if they're doing permit to work and they're not receiving proper training. I know they're your guests basically while the work is going on. And the whole production interruption, I think they're probably the things that sometimes as safety professionals we tend to err more on the side of compliance, whereas I
Yeah.
think the costs are there otherwise as well, you know, for the business as
Yeah.
well inside.
Yeah, some of these can be avoided if we first time it may take time, but if the same thing we are doing again and again the second time around, then
Mm,
we are smarter and we save time. So
yeah,
yes, the first time we perfect the system, we mature a system, standardize a system. Yes, it. But then electronic permit system we have cloned it. We have, we can duplicate the way we did last time, unlike in the manual system,
mm,
and and we will actually save time much faster in the future repetition of similar jobs. First time it could be, yeah, all the downtime could be there, but then as I said, this is the part of the learning curve,
mm,
and the first time we should pay or we should devote enough time till we are all happy risk assessment wise from the residual risk status wise, and in future when we are doing the same job or similar job, which would be much faster because we are able to retrieve all the data from our previous work. We have to, of course, fine tune. We
you've
have to
built your
review.
framework as well inside there as
Yeah,
well. So
yes, 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 yes.
I'm
Yeah,
wondering as well in terms of, I mean, you work on different sites, different continents where you could have lots of employers, lots of different shifts at the same time, lots of different contractors, different compounds. Inside there, I think just having live visibility of active work permits across the site, I think do you feel that's becoming a baseline
yes.
expectation rather than kind of a nice to have inside there?
It, it is extremely useful feature, the dashboards, and the permit to electronic permit to work system is very smartly linked to the dashboard. And you have, for example, if you want to see all the live open flame works,
Hmm.
then you just press that button and you will see all the open flame work, and some inspector, regulatory inspector, the government inspector will like to go to all the open flame job, how it will be quick for him. Second thing, it also that dashboard helps in the emergency response.
Hmm.
When any, God forbid, anything goes wrong, then the same dashboard could be in the fire control room.
Yeah.
And if there is a fire incident and fire incident, the fire and gas detectors will tell that the alarm is coming from this point of view, and the fire brigade will come to know, hey, in this area there was an open flame, and this was at this
And
platform.
that's where seconds matter as well in emergencies and stuff. You don't have to go asking. The information is just there
E-
at your
e-
fingertips.
Exactly, it helps in the emergency response. And also, third thing I have found out that in the dashboard, the simultaneous operation is also well managed,
Hmm.
because you cannot keep on issuing permit after a permit in a particular geographical location or at a multi levels in a particular location. So there has to be limit. If some,